The Giant Thinkers.
Giant Thinkers Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. I'm Ram Castillo, and in this podcast, I'm bringing to you top experts from various industries worldwide to learn from their success and to help us become better designers, creatives, and giant thinkers. Hello, wonderful listeners. Welcome to the third episode of the Giant Thinkers Podcast. I've been tossing and turning over the last few weeks in excitement with this upcoming guest. He's one of the most established designers in the world and one of the most awarded, including D&AD, Art Directors Club New York and Tokyo, the Society of Publication Designers New York, and AGDA Australia. He's the founder of a world-renowned studio. He's even an executive committee member of D&AD and a member of Alliance Graphique Internationale, Switzerland. In this episode, we cover plenty of explosive content. We talk about what it takes to start a business, from getting business coaching to being agile, adaptable, and creating systems. We cover idea generation, facilitating client needs, finding opportunities for them, and putting clarity in complex situations. We chat about tea addictions, his book recommendation, and what his day entails. Now, if all that still doesn't get you excited, here's a quote from the man himself when I asked what type of person he enjoys working with the most. He said, "Someone who can move mountains, believes the impossible is possible, someone with an open mind, and who is determined to find the ultimate solution." Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the CEO and ECD of Frost Collective, Vince Frost. Thank you for donating your time to hop on the Giant Thinkers podcast. There's plenty we can learn from. And to kick things off, a little icebreaker question. Have you got a secret habit or strange ritual that not many people know about?
God, that's a great way to start.
Yeah.
I'm totally thinking
Throw you
now.
off.
Yeah, thank you. Strange habit. I have. If you ask my partner, she'll say I have plenty of.
She'll give you a list.
Yeah, she'll give you a list.
Perhaps do you sing in the shower or wear lucky socks or anything like that before a meeting?
Nothing like that. No.
Okay, pretty straight.
There was a phase where I was just wearing black t-shirts all the time for years on end, but that's I've now discovered color, so that's not one. I drink a lot of green tea.
Okay,
probably about
good. Yeah.
5 to 6 cups a day.
Wow.
And I just like that. I get addicted to things.
Yes.
This time it's green tea.
Green tea is the thing.
Rooibos tea before. It's been, lots of other things. So
Unreal.
I do have certain things I need around me. I've had a watch for 20 years that I always have to wear. Moleskin notebooks, Alamy pencils, things like that just are kind of part of my my kit, as it were.
Yeah, a bit of a system.
Yeah,
perfect. Now, can you tell us where you're from and what kind of kid you were growing up?
Okay, well, I was born in England, grew up in Canada, been all over the place really, back to England again, and now in Australia. Kind of kid I was very, very shy, very, very questioning, but quite reserved in a lot of ways, physically, outwardly. But I was very active, loved sports, loved being outside, nature, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd say I was very physical, doing sports and
any sport
running.
In particular? Or?
I love running, and I loved running as a kid. Long distance running was my thing, and I would love just go running out to the hills, the mountains, kind of alone, and kind of just getting out amongst nature and just running. Just for the sheer pleasure of running, really.
And this was in Canada?
In Canada, then in England.
And then in England.
Obviously now.
Yeah.
Now to a lesser extent.
Right. Now, where would you say your expertise lies?
Expertise probably lies in more around, I wouldn't say specifically graphic design. I think that's where I obviously started working under that kind of label, as it were. But much more around kind of helping people be the best at what they can be. And that's businesses, large and small, charities, all the way through big corporations. So it's really important for me to be able to add strategic kind of business advice through kind of design thinking, which helps to elevate their potential.
Yeah, nice way of putting it. And how did you get started in this area?
I got started through kind of, I guess, a couple wrong turns, and then I kind of discovered design school. Also discovered at the time I wasn't very good at graphic design. I didn't have a graphic designer's portfolio coming straight out of high school. But it did open up doors to me in terms of going to do a foundation course where I discovered fashion, product design, graphic design was part of it, animation, photography, etc. All that really opened up my world to the world of creativity and the diversity that has opportunities within that. After a little while, I kind of felt much more of an affinity with graphics because it felt like it's something I could easily do by myself. And I just kind of latched onto that, and kind of, for me, it was just like, oh my God, this is the thing that I'm meant to be doing. And ever since then, it's been growing from that point.
As an extension of what you just said there, is there a person, who or what inspired you to pursue your dream?
I'm not sure it was a dream. I just think, is this your angle? You want it to be a dream? I can turn it into a dream.
Well, I guess they're two different things. To pursue your calling, let's say.
Yeah, no one specifically, I guess. I discovered people who I liked their work of later on, but the core design occupation and potential was not really about a person. It was more about me being able to make stuff, and that's something which I think all of us are born to do, and I found that kind of as an outlet for me that just felt quite comfortable and felt right. It really felt like you tingled with the idea that this was the thing you're meant to have been doing, And then over time, you get exposed to, there is a whole world of that out there. I just thought it was just like a thing I did down in my design school. It wasn't really a big world occupation, and I didn't even know about anybody who was doing this for a living, let alone what that would look like. And there's people like Neville Brody at the time, who was doing Face magazine, that I saw his work in every newsagent, and I was thinking, my God, that looks cool, as it's meant to have done. And I was attracted to that, to publication designs. I was attracted to Fabian Baron in New York, his work on Harper's Bazaar magazine. Really, really found that inspiring, and I found it just like such a beautiful thing to look at, even though it's a women's magazine. I was obsessed with the typography, the photography, the art quality of the art direction, the advertising, at the weight of each monthly issue, and just was inspired by the fact how that was brought to life, however way it was. And there's people like Alan Fletcher in Pentagram London, who I ended up working with in London, and it exposed me to people as I've gone on. Today, every day you meet new people, and it's kind of a growing and exciting kind of industry, and it's not just a career for a young person. It's not just a college project. It's something that you can do your whole life, and thankfully, it's something which continues to grow and inspire you as you go.
Yeah. Now you have a flourishing business that once was Frost Design alone, now referred to as Frost Collective, which has 3 sort of segment counterparts. Can you share to us about what inspired you to build this business?
Well, I've always wanted to grow the business, Frost Design. And I, over time, last 25 years, I've been thinking about different ways of doing that. And it's something that, you get very busy with working with your clients on a daily basis. You get consumed by the great projects you're working on. And like most designers and most design companies, you kind of take your eye off of your own brand and the potential growth of that business, apart from just getting in there and getting stuff done. I decided to be much more proactive. I took some business coaching courses. I had a mentor. I really focused on evolving myself into a true CEO of my business versus being the creative director of my business and kind of majority owner of a business. I thought I need to just kind of own this, and I need to ensure that I was in control of the destiny of this business, and to help it have much more of a vision and a direction, and something that was actually focused on achieving growth and success for that business proactively. Because previously it was purely working on being reactive to what was coming our way and situations that were in the business. So it was very much based on focusing on working on the business as opposed to in the business. And when I was doing that, I was working on the vision, working on the values, what we stand for, where we're going, etc. At the time, uh, I had the opportunity to look at growing our digital offer within our business. And previous to this, I'd had a digital team that kind of we brought in and kind of didn't work out very well. And what we looked at was bringing in, acquiring a digital company, and we call it, which is the Nest. They've been going for about 3 years and doing very well, mostly in the cultural sector. And we decided to kind of purchase them and bring them into our business. Now, I could have at the time said, okay, that's just Frost Digital. That becomes under the Frost Design umbrella. But I also find, as much as I find graphic design a limited term, I find design, Frost Design was potentially limited because it was known as graphic design. And when you bring another entity such as another specialist skill such as digital, I thought it was important to look at, do we keep the Nest as a brand? And I think that's where I decided to do that. Then looked at the whole business and going, well, actually, there's another very strong specialist area, which is the environmental design side of our business, which right now is getting a bit confused with the strategic branding part of our business and all the other design that we do within that. And decided to separate that and create a new brand, a new name for that, which is Urbanite. It's not to kind of create silos by any means. It's about actually having these 3 genuine businesses working under the Frost Collective in a very open and transparent way, where they share skills, they share clients, and they do it with very much a very simple way as possible. Now, there's great benefit to our clients because we are 3 specialist businesses that are working together for their efforts, a kind of very much a 360 approach to doing work for them very well and doing it very seamlessly across the project. And setting that up for the future of either growing or acquiring other businesses going forward, which will be under the Frost Collective. Other businesses that will be a benefit to the collective output and resources, etc.
Yeah, I think you found a way to accommodate for the influx of work, but also the capacity in which your offering was producing. And also, I liked how you mentioned you merged into, whether it was inevitable or not, working on the business rather than for the business. I think that's really important because as a designer, it can be quite reactive and consuming of time, especially when you're 100% hands-on and just almost trying to squeeze in the business side of things in terms of whether it's marketing or doing the finances.
Absolutely.
And the business decisions. I think that's where I'm personally at with creating a brand for myself, and I'm sure others listening are in that same position, whether they're a one-man band or have certain small teams starting out. Is there any advice you can give about the business side of things? Because I think we had a chat about this, over an interview on my blog about that. And I'd love for you to kind of explain your growth on not being so aware of how important it is to now kind of going, okay, look, it is an equally important part of being a successful designer or creative.
I think it's the difference when you're a creative working for an organization. It's when you actually own it, or if you're a freelance designer or someone who's starting out, like I did in the very beginning, where I was just one person. I started off in my spare room, and I guess quite naively thought I was a business, and I was a business. I had an identity, I had a phone number, I had at that time we didn't have websites, but that was soon to come. I guess it kind of taught me that. It's taught me then, but it's looking back in hindsight, is that it's taken me 20 plus years to realize how business works. And I really wish, although I don't regret anything, I really wish that I had been taught and had been exposed to running a design business, and someone like myself kind of starting out and how to do it best, which is the question you're asking me. I guess the key thing is to have a plan. And so many of us creative people just start a business because we're good at doing something. We're good at the technical side of it. We're good at the ideas and and responding to problems and coming back with solutions. We tend to be not so good about doing that for ourselves. We tend to kind of get, again, quite quickly, as being one person starting out, get busy. And you think, oh, this is great. I'm going to get busier, busier, and busier, and I'm going to be making good money, and I'll be successful, and all this kind of stuff. What you find is over time, unless you have a clear focus on what you want to do, a clear business plan, a project where you want to go, a goal, and work out how to reach that goal, there's a whole different ways of doing that. Unless you have that, you're going to be running around like a headless chicken for the rest of your career. And that's what often happens, is you drown in your own success. So I would advise several things. I would advise finding a mentor, someone that you really think is a person who could, who's been where you want to go, someone who knows how the world works, because sometimes when you're young, starting out, you just don't have any idea. And even when you've been in business for a long time, you can still learn from other people who are kind of wise or been there, done that kind of thing. And the other thing is around get some serious, it may sound daunting, but get some serious business coaching. Invest in having a kind of an official guide to help you understand business and help you to put together a business plan, work out your values, work out all these things it may sound like over the top, and it may turn a lot of designers off because they're not naturally, their brain doesn't work in that way. But I would strongly advise, no matter how hard it is, how hard you find it, to go through with it, and as a result of that, you'll be very clear about what the light bulb moment will happen. You go, oh my God, I'm not just a graphic designer. My business is X, and my business is here to do X, Y, and Z. And it will help you enormously to be able to market that, to be able to articulate that into the market, which will be your point of difference, and something which will give you an advantage, and something that will help you and enable you to grow. So, and there's all kinds, I guess, moments within your business lifespan that you'll need varying help in different ways. And I guess also to understand that, for me, being really good at design, I thought I could do everything. I thought I did the accounts, I did get the work, I did the design, did the artwork, et cetera, did the presentations, the talks. Over time, it's quite a hard thing for designers to learn how to delegate to other people. You get so busy, you need an assistant. So you go, okay, I've done this all myself, I do this all myself. How do I get someone else who isn't me, and may not think the same way as I do, but they're a pair of hands, I need to utilize them, I'm paying for them. Quite often I found in the beginning that I wasn't even using them. They were just there making me coffee and doing kind of some very basic stuff, because I didn't know how to delegate. I didn't know how to brief them in a way that would inspire them to come up with ideas beyond the ideas I had. There's a whole bunch of stuff that kind of goes on. But I think what I feel most excited about is actually I'm in control of my business as much as I possibly can be, or I've ever been. I think even though as much as I know now and the experience I've got, I realize that you can nothing's certain, nothing's guaranteed. You need to be focused, but equally need to be agile, and you need to be adaptable to the markets, to situations. You need to really focus on HR, which is a term I hate, but it's something that's really important, which is your people are your best asset and your greatest asset. And that takes time to realize that. Most of us designers have egos from the beginning when we're art college, and growing a team around you, support you to do the work and to build relationships with clients, etc., is so important. I believe in being as open to say yes, to be positive. So I believe in being having that kind of can-do attitude with myself and in my business, and to ensure that we can tackle projects that are going to go beyond our expertise. We can deliver with a positive and professional kind of outcome and experiences. And it's the exciting thing about business is you can tweak it, you can continually kind of work on it and evolve it over time. Trial things, see if they work. If they don't work, it's not the end of the world. You can fix it, change it, systemize things as much as possible, because there's nothing worse than keep reinventing the way you invoice or reinventing the way you do your PowerPoint presentation, or so focus on the things that really do make a difference to you going forward.
There's some great practical tips right there.
Cool.
In terms of mentors, How do you feel is the best way to get a mentor? Because I think the word mentor almost, for those that have never had a mentor or potentially are just starting out, may feel that mentors are somewhat unreachable people who don't have the time of day. I personally think mentors are almost uh, in life stages. So they might even be in segmented categories. So someone might be great for business to mentor
Yeah.
me, and it might only be for the next year or two.
Mm.
And then that relationship is kind of all I've kind of gotten from that person, and the exchange is made in however format, whether it's phone calls, emails, whatever. What's your take on mentors, and how can people get them?
I think my take on mentors is around kind of if you can work out what you need help with and then work out what mentor is best suited for you, you know? Or if you need help working out what you what you need help with,
Yeah.
find someone who's equally right for that. So I think that when I was starting out, I thought you had to be good at everything. I thought asking for help was actually a sign of weakness, which it's obviously not until you ask. But I think it's really important. I got a naturopath, I got a bank manager, I got a financial advisor, I got a gym guy. There's a whole bunch of people that I've surrounded myself with who are people who are experts in their field, who help make my life easier, who help me avoid making further mistakes if I can. And I just think you got to source out, ask around, be very think about, okay, this is the issue I've got to resolve. And as soon as you even think that, you start to think about people. You start to go, okay, how am I going to solve this? Who do I know? Start talking to other people who may know somebody, and just begin to kind of be open to the idea that person will come into your life because you've already opened that door for that to happen. I think that's what I found, and just asking around and looking at other people who have done things well that you're inspired by, or you share the same values as that kind of person, and just nothing. Go up to them and say, would you be interested in being, my mentor? Whether you do it for free or whether you do it, some people would do it for free. Other people charge you. Other people charge you a lot of money. Some people just charge you kind of a nominal fee or a free, a lunch or something. Just work out what's affordable for you, and it doesn't have to be an expensive exercise.
You just have to ask the question. Otherwise, if you don't, the answer will be no. If you don't ask.
Yeah, exactly. And even if it is no, then it's just like, well, okay, well, do you know anybody who and quite often people will say, yeah, I know my mate down the road, he's this, he'd be a cool guy, he's more your age or what. And there's a whole bunch of, just persevere.
Cool.
Makes a big difference.
Now, what sort of clients do you typically deal with, and what problems do they want you to solve?
Well, it's quite variety of clients, obviously, because of the different type of work we do. More often than not, the main thing is, I guess, a client will come to us with a problem, and that is, I see it as an opportunity, not necessarily a problem. Is that they need to do something. They need to improve their communication. They need to launch something. They need to rebrand. They need to refresh. They need to start a business. So they come because they need the tools. They need clarity put into their plan, their business plan, or they need to realize or visualize their offer into the market. So it's really about going, it's somebody else's idea. They come in, they have, okay, I'm launching this brand, blah, 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 blah. I know what I've made as a widget or as a thing or an offer. I need help in understanding how do I articulate that. So we go through a process of working with people with strategic workshops around getting to understand their potential, their problems, their worries, their desires, their goals, etc., how their organization works, whatever scale that is, and how can we help them to do it better? How can we help them to achieve the goal that they're aiming for? So we go through that process with each and every one of our clients. And quite often what it is, it's a situation where they may know all that information, but it might be a bit muddled. It might be a bit kind of lost and unclear. And we really help hold a mirror up to this organization, help them to see themselves clearly and simply, to be able to kind of own that. It's a bit like talking about the business plan that we talked about earlier. For a designer to work out a business plan, it's to put clarity into that complex situation. So you can then know, okay, this is where I'm going. This is what we are. This is what we believe in. And this is the best way to achieve our success.
Great.
So there's no specific, we do property, we do finance, digital, headquarters, wayfinding. It's quite diverse. So, but they all start with a need.
Now, swinging the needle a little bit, something to a little bit more lighthearted, I guess. What's a typical day look like for you?
Typical day.
You're an early riser?
Yeah, I don't sleep very much.
Okay.
I find it boring. But I don't tend to switch off. I mean, it's definitely not 9 to 5. I don't think that way, and I don't want to think that way. I'm a human being. I'm alive. I'm thankful for that. And I don't see the difference between work, home, etc. So my typical day, I'd kind of wake up relatively early, maybe at 5 or 5:30 or something. Sometimes, well, when the weather's a bit better, it's a bit rainy now, but I tend to go for a walk or a run, which I like because it's fresh and you kind of get your mind going. I got 3 kids, so often, quite often it's like packing lunches and things like that. And then there's a kind of a time in between then and 10 o'clock where I kind of work on business. I work at home on business kind of things I need to do, administration type stuff. And then I come into the studio and I have, meetings and reviews and do business kind of presentations, things like that. And then I guess, it's kind of an open-ended the rest of the day in terms of it doesn't really tend to finish, as it were, I definitely don't kind of clock off at 6. It's just...
Sure, yeah.
Maybe I have further communication with, an international client, in the evening, or go out for dinner with my partner and my kids and stuff like that. So
getting some breakfast and dinner and lunch and all that in there, or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and we're so lucky in Australia and Sydney to have such a wealth of phenomenal joints we can go to for that. So yeah,
good.
Always discovering new ones.
Now, when it comes to design education and the institutions at the moment, is there any improvements do you think that they could include? I mean, you surely are interviewing a whole ton of, whether it's interns or junior designers or creatives and whatnot. Is there any improvements do you think design education institutions could make to help students enter the workforce more relevantly or quickly?
Well, I don't know all these institutions intimately, so I don't know whether they're not doing the things I think they should be doing. But I think that the ideal designer today needs to be more a generalist than a specialist. I think that the designers have powerful minds. They have the ability to solve complex problems, situations, and I don't think they need to be media specific. I don't think they need to be just advertising or editorial or packaging or brand. I just think that a smart thinker can tackle anything. And so that's in terms of that point. And then the other point is around, as I said in the very beginning, around understanding business. I know at the time when you're kind of 18, 20, whatever it is, going to design school, you go in there because you're actually probably you're not so good academically. You're not good at maths. You're not good at that stuff. And it doesn't turn you on. Frankly, you just go, I just want to make stuff look great. It's a way of finding of how do you make business look interesting and help designers, potential designers at that level, at that point in their career, see that that's an integral part of life, integral part of business, and very much a yin and yang between creativity and business. And I think that there's design schools here like UTS Business School who've embraced that with their curriculum, adding design thinking into their curriculum. So they're thinking that way. I think design schools need to be thinking the other way. We're bringing business into design schools, and it's never too late to learn. So I think it's not like that has to be all worked out in the first 3 years of your course. Understanding that learning is an ongoing part of life.
How long have you been in the industry now? Would be a good, almost 30 years?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, 25, 30 years.
So with that, being on either ends of the fence, from being someone that is applying for a job and now being the owner of a business hiring people that are looking for a job, how do emerging designers or anyone looking for a job get the attention of the employer or the decision maker, whether it be the creative director or not, in your opinion?
I think be very clear. Be very clear who you're approaching. Be understanding that you're approaching the person because you really want to connect with them, not just think of them as another business that I'm applying to. I think make sure you tailor and make sure you be very clear about that specific person who's relevant to that person, he or she is a decision maker, and do a bit of research around them and really understand who you're targeting. So you make sure that you tailor it to that person. Nothing worse than a blank email or not blank. I mean, just like
Copy and paste.
Yeah, just like here. Sometimes you get them and they didn't even change the right name. You got someone else's business name on there. I just throw those in the bin. I just go, that person hasn't even bothered to make the effort to work out that I'm not Design Shop or whatever other company. My name's not John, and there's one thing. But I think be very true to yourself. Show your strengths and weaknesses and say, look, I may not be fully qualified with this. I've got experience in this area, but I'm keen as hell to make this work. I really, really want to make this work, because more often than not, we don't hire people on their skills. We hire people on their personality, their determination and their kind of overall kind of personal attributes and their values.
And would you get that impression articulated in an email and then sort of quickly looking at their online portfolio and what their interests are?
Yeah, it tends to be a pretty quick thing. You go email, click, there's a link, click. Worth looking at? Yeah, no, maybe. You don't want to get filed. You want someone to go, yeah. When someone's good, when someone stands out, it's flicked around the studio and everybody gets to go, oh, that person's good. Get him in or her in, if it's bland, banal, if it's, sometimes, I mean, I guess we know what we're looking for. That's the thing. I mean, other organizations, we're looking for something completely different. I mean, you've got to find some kind of affinity and understand the potential in that person, see the potential in that person.
I guess it goes back to your point about them finding a bit of background about who they're applying to, who they're speaking to, and at the same time that they're producing work that can be used in the business that they're applying for. Yeah,
they should see themselves as a mini business at that stage. They've already shared their mini business plan, what they want to do, who they want to go work for, which companies they want to go intern at, for what particular reasons, not just for random kind of scattergun approach. So now, I think that's really important, to try to be as specific as you can at that young age, because you don't necessarily know how the world works, as I said previously. I also think that, you say 25, 30 years I've been in business, and that actually is a blip. Like, it's actually, there's no time. Your career time period is actually phenomenally short, which makes you realize how short life is. When you're starting out at 18, 20, whatever it is, you think you got the whole world ahead of you. And you have, hopefully. And time is endless, and time is not important. And you've got plenty of that ahead of you. But really, the reality is that you have a very short window, and try to make sure that you understand that it's important to you to not get stuck in places that are terrible, working with people who you don't like, or working on projects get sidelined, or you get in a situation where I've seen it so many times. People get stuck in a career or in a specific job because they didn't know what else to do, or they didn't have a plan. And that is the worst thing that can happen for a person, because it just fills you with regret, and you as a result of that, you haven't realized your potential.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Now, when it comes to interviews, what are the do's and don'ts that come to mind that candidates should be aware of?
Don't look at your phone. I'm just taking the time.
Just look at your phone when you're over dinner with your partner.
Yeah, no, don't do that either. that ends in disaster.
Plenty of people doing that these days.
But I think it's really about, focus. It's kind of hard. You get some people who come in who are phenomenally talented, who are very shy people, and sometimes at that young age, you don't have the confidence. You do have a lot of self-doubt. You haven't matured as a person, so you don't really know how things work, and how, you're intimidated by sitting in front of a person who's been in business for 25 years. And I think the important thing is to realize that we're all people, and no one's really going to eat you alive. And for you to present yourself in your best light, be you, be natural. It's so important to be you. Don't try to be your friend that you go to college with. Don't try to pretend to be some kind of rock star designer or whatever. Just be you. And people will appreciate that. And it'll help the decision making around that as well. So I think the thing is, when someone tries to pretend they're someone else, or they're better than what they are, or they're, all this kind of stuff, it creates a kind of confusing kind of chemistry and confusion around the decision making, whether to take that person on or not. So present yourself in the best light possible. Be focused. Show your enthusiasm, but don't fake it if you haven't got it. And make sure you get across how keen you are to work with this person or work with this organization. People really respond well, and people say, "Look, I really, really want to work with you. I would do anything to come and work here because it means so much to me."
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think that's often so obvious, but can be forgotten. When you verbally just make it clear, whether you're referring to them on the way out and saying, I had such a great time, thank you for the interview, just to reaffirm, I'm hugely excited for the potential opportunity.
Yep.
I'd love to work here. I think just saying that you'd love to work there is a huge thing.
We do it with our clients. Every time we meet a new client, we say exactly the same thing. We really, really want to work with you. And it's not just to get the money, just to get the work, but the relationship already is beginning there. The relationship begins with an email correspondence, with a phone call correspondence, with physically meeting before you've got the opportunity. You've got to understand that the relationship starts right when you've actually thought about contacting that person. And that's so important. Yeah. And I think when you're right, saying thank you and being very appreciative about that.
Now, what type of person do you enjoy working with the most?
What I want to add to that too.
Yeah, go for it.
Is it's a two-way street. So it's not just like a charity that we sit here going, interns come in here and or young designers come in here, we're just going to give you an opportunity. We expect a certain amount back from them. It's a two-way thing. So if an intern's coming to the business, we really want them to be partaking in the work, contributing to the work. And it takes a lot of effort when someone's quite new and junior to help them kind of get up to speed with how the real world works and how the projects work at a different kind of level. So I was going to say, it's not just, it's not like free labor or anything like that. It's very much we're investing in them as much as they're investing in us.
Great.
On to your next question.
Yes. What type of person do you enjoy working with the most?
Well, I guess kind of that.
Is it diversity? Is it kind of, would you like there to be people that are interested in different things, different cultures, different, a mix of, ideas are beneficial to an agency?
Yeah, all those things. I think that the thing I like the most is people who are enthusiastic. I like people who share that kind of can-do attitude, who just want to get in and get busy and start doing stuff. I love that when someone just wants to jump on it. They want to go, oh my God, this has got so much potential. I want to help realize it. I want to get in there and do stuff. So that kind of person I find, whether guy, girl, whatever it is, it doesn't matter to me. It's just around that someone who can move mountains, someone who can believe the impossible is possible, someone who can think, what if we can do this? I like people who have open minds and who are determined to find and discover the ultimate solution. I don't care whether they're in one specific, digital or environments or whatever it is. It's whatever it is, that kind of person's really, for me, very appealing and very critical to our success of finding those solutions.
Yeah, very nicely put.
Thank you.
When it comes to idea generation, how can someone accelerate their learning to come up with ideas and to think about ideas and solutions?
There's lots of different ways. I mean, like the key thing I think for me is being in an environment where you have lots of opportunities coming your way. I mean, I think that if you've got one opportunity, it's actually harder to learn about ideas and harder to come up with a solution for that idea or for that opportunity than it is if you have 5 or 10 or 20 opportunities that are kind of coming in all the same time. I have found it eliminates my need to procrastinate, because I used to procrastinate like crazy because I didn't know what the solution would be for that one project. When a whole bunch of things start coming in behind that, it actually makes you get off your ass and makes you make decisions, and it helps you move forward with that kind of stuff. So I think an abundance of opportunities we're lucky in this country that we have those. Not everybody everywhere has that, but having that situation where it just helps you kind of move and grow and take you to new territories that you never experienced before. So, what was the question?
It was on idea generation.
I did, yeah. So, do more. Do more. Be less nervous. Get stuff down. Be agile. Think of not try to make things perfect from the outset. I know we try to, but the idea is start to put some stuff down and look at how you can improve on it as you go. And I think
be comfortable with the first draft.
Yeah, sometimes the first thing you've ever thought of is actually the best thing at the end of the day. You don't have to die the hour or the night before the presentation, which I thought for a long time you did. I was virtually dead for like 15 years.
Now, a few more questions here. What's the biggest mistake you've made in your life, and how did you overcome it? Whether it's business or career-wise or whatever. Anything that stands out?
Yeah, I probably can't talk about it.
Can't talk about most of it.
But I think
third biggest mistake.
I think the mistakes I've made have been based on not fully understanding what I'm about to get myself into, not fully understanding a person, not understanding how that person worked or think, slipped into a situation without, based on being attracted to someone or an opportunity, but without going, is this person the right fit for me? Is this person, have I it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
I kind of in a situation where it just kind of happened, I tend to go, shit, this actually just kind of happened, but it's not necessarily right for me. When I've been in a situation where I go, and Japanese Vogue was one, amazing opportunity. I was seduced by money, moving to countries. The opportunity to be art director of a fashion magazine like that was just amazing. Went back to the days when I was looking at Harper's Bazaar as a young student on the shelves of Newsagent. I was enticed by the situation, but I didn't really think hard at what did that mean for me? What was it right? Was it the right alignment? Was it the right timing, et cetera, et cetera? And I found out 9 months later when I was fired that I was naturally going to be fired because it wasn't right for me. I didn't work it out in the beginning. I did not do the due diligence of checking to make sure that this is something which really felt right in my heart. I was manipulated by, this idea of money or all this kind of stuff. So I guess, I don't want to go into too many specifics, but it's so critical for me, and I've learned this now big time, is around listening, understanding the problem thoroughly as much as possible, and then listening to your gut and listening to your intuition and believe in yourself. That's the only, if you say, okay, I've now researched this, I know it fully, I know the opportunity. Like we do with any project that comes to the door. We don't even know that project existed yesterday. It came in the door today, and now we've looked really deep into this project. We now fully understand it, so we actually have a really well thought through solution for that opportunity. So the same with in my life, it's important for me to listen to my intuition and act on acting. That's my guiding light. All of us have that, and when you don't, you screw up, I think.
Looking inward and being conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't be kind of like phased by it. I mean, I think the worst thing is to be kind of in that kind of no man's land where you can't make a decision. And most often not, it's because you don't know enough to feel that intuitive feeling that this is right or wrong at the time. Get rid of the vagueness and the ambiguity.
Have you got any favorite books that you would recommend? Anything comes to mind with? Yeah.
No one's talked about books for a long time.
Bringing them back
very
in.
Old school. Well, they actually are steadily on the ink. They haven't gone out of print. They haven't kind of stopped print. There's more books produced now than ever before. And I've got thousands of them lying across my house in piles because I haven't got any shelves worked out yet. But I kind of getting around talking about books in terms of
any interesting reads that you really enjoyed.
There's a book called The E-Myth. It's not a design book, but it's about a guy called Michael Gerber created this organization called The E-Myth, and it's entrepreneurial myth. To think that people start business because they're entrepreneurial is a myth.
Great.
And the reality is that people are good because they're a technician. They're good at something, and they start to get into business because they're a natural thing for them to do. So I found that that's a recent book I read, I thought was really interesting.
Perfect. E-Myth by
Michael Gerber. There's a whole bunch of other books. I can't remember all the titles right now. You've thrown me by mentioning books.
No, that's all right.
I tend to buy design books, dozens of design books. Not so much anymore. I used to be just every day, every week I'd be buying books because it was prior to the, Pinterest and things like that, where we just have this plethora of information. The only way to see what's going on in the world previously was through beautifully made and curated books. People actually made the effort to kind of, cut out the crap and put in what was actually truly worthy of being printed. And that part's kind of gone, isn't it? The editing process with the way that we just consume so much information. So I got lots of design books.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But still, I don't have any specifics right now.
Now, if you were to travel back in time for 30 seconds and talk to teenage Vince Frost, what would you tell him?
Everything's going to be okay. You'll get there. Enjoy your hair.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, that's more. Do you want more?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Now, wrapping up now, just a few more questions. What's next for you? Is there anything we can look out for? You released a book yourself recently?
Oh, no, that was Penguin published that. Penguin Lantern. So that came out last November. I'm still in the process of doing a lot of workshops and talks around Design Your Life. We're actually in the process of going to be launching Design Your Life, the book in Europe and in New York States stuff in October this year. So I'm excited about that. Up to now, it's only been available via our website, which makes it very expensive for the rest of the world. And working on the next book, which is much more around design your business. So that's the topic of the next book I'm doing.
Unreal. Now, where can listeners get in touch with you online or on social media, things like that?
Yeah, so you can go to the Frost Collective, frostcollective.com.au for the business, vincefrost.com, my personal website and connections there, Twitter, Facebook, and all that is on that page. designyourlife.com.au, that's the book website. And defrost.com, so de-frost.com is our monthly talks that we do in the studio, which is really cool, live talks, which you can see kind of previous recordings of the talks, but also what's coming up as well.
Perfect. It's been such good fun with you, Vince. Thanks for having, it's been great to have you on and for sharing your insights. And hopefully we can cross paths again. And I'm sure there's a lot to see in the next couple of years to come.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Thanks, Vince. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening, guys. That wraps up another cracking episode. Do check out Frost Collective and follow Vince online. And you would have noticed he mentioned at the end there something called Defrost, which is a series of free monthly talks hosted at the Frost Collective studio. Some news hot off the press is that I'll actually be doing a Defrost talk on the 27th of August. So if you're in Sydney around that time, check out de-frost.com to book your spot. Now, a little teaser for the next episode. I have a guest from Southern California. He's a master in online marketing. We talk about blogging, the top 3 ways to generate more website traffic, how to get more done, and even how he dealt with losing $1 million at 21 years old. Yep, you heard right. So if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the giantthinkers.com mailing list, and of course, subscribe on iTunes. Until next time, be fearless, be hungry, and stay focused.